Oh, dramatic stuff from the stars of the film. Chris Evans, that's Captain America, and Paul Rudd, who plays Ant-Man. Join us now. First question has to be, could you do it all day?
Is that a question to me?
It's a question to both of you. It looks incredibly athletic.
I think you should take it, Chris.
Okay, I'll take it. Okay, clearly, yes. I'll go on the record and say, yes, I can do it all day. I'm glad this is how we're starting.
Good to know.
It's we were having a look, actually, when we saw you setting up and sitting in your seats there, both sporting your magnificent facial hair, how many superheroes there are with facial hair. And actually, well, Wolverine, Iron Man, Thor, not in the comics, but in the movies. So, well, is this like a rebellion after you've finished filming?
Mine is motivated by laziness. I think Paul is actually motivated by work.
Yeah, I have mine for work. But it is nice when you are done shooting to not shave. It's also kind of nice because sometimes we don't know what the next job is, and it gives you more options. You know, that you can look like Grizzly Adams in your next movie.
Paul, I wanted to ask you, what was it like being part of this movie? Because obviously you had Ant-Man beforehand, but this was the first time you got to be with all the other Avengers. There must have been a moment, almost like that little boy released within you, when you look around and see everyone suited and booted together.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a lot of fun. And, you know, working on Ant-Man was a lot of fun. This made it real in a very different kind of way because they were all there, and I saw all of the actors wearing the costumes, wearing their suits that I've seen all the movies, and it was fun to be a part of it, and a bit surreal, but very exciting. And you're right, I did feel like a little kid.
Well, you guys, obviously, you'd be doing thousands of interviews in promotion, so you have it all right down pat now, because we're terrified that we're going to give something away. So you know how much you can say. The movie is incredible. It's so action-packed. It's so unbelievably visual. I'm safe to say that the Avengers splinter in this movie into two very different camps. Why?
Well, I think well, again, I don't want to give too much away, but I think it's known that what happens in the beginning of the movie is that there are certain governments, certain branches of certain governments around the world who feel that the Avengers, who have been acting as this kind of rogue group of vigilantes, need to be held accountable and need to answer to someone. So we're presented with the Sokovia Accords that would kind of handcuff our abilities and kind of dictate when and where we go to fight. And the Team Iron Man camp feels that we should sign these accords and that we should be held accountable, and the Team Cap camp feels that the safest hands are still our own.
And how did that work on set? Did you find yourself as actors suddenly being divided into kind of sort of Team Captain America and Team Iron Man?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. For the most part, you know, we've made multiple movies together with these people, and to be completely honest, they all kind of start to blend together anyway. So for the most part, when you're done at the end of the day, it's just, you know, it's friendships as usual.
It's interesting after Winter Soldier, the relationship that Captain America has with Bucky. I mean, that goes sort of hideously wrong. He goes rogue. He's hypnotized, and right at the very end, there looked like there was a glimmer of recognition that maybe you'd finally got through to your friend, the only guy that links him back to the 1940s. But the relationship is obviously rekindled and develops. Once again, you're doing the interviews. How much you're allowed to say? It develops a lot more in this movie.
Yeah, it's certainly a motivating factor. You know, the Sokovia Accords are kind of like the kindling for the conflict, and then Bucky becomes kind of the spark that sets it ablaze. Again, I don't want to give too much away. These movies are tricky in that capacity. You got to be careful what you give away because it is such a good plot. But Steve Rogers is obviously motivated by preserving the friendship that he has with this guy from the 1940s. That's the last piece of his history, his home. So he certainly prioritizes that over the current family he has today.
And there are these huge action sequences, all this drama going on. And actually, Paul, what's nice about your character is that he does offer a little bit of light relief also.
Yeah, I think that's part of the fun of the film. And what Marvel does well, you know, there are moments of levity. It all exists together, sometimes the comedy can enhance the drama and vice versa. And, you know, my character is very much a civilian who is not used to any of this. So I think he approaches the situation in a similar way that anybody would, and that is to be overwhelmed by it.
Well, that's the lovely thing. When
allows for a lot of room for comedy.
Yeah, we see him. I think in his first scene where he's asleep in the back of his van. He's actually. We're watching a little bit of it now. He's genuinely starstruck by the fact that Captain America's there.
Sure. Hey, I'm starstruck right now just sitting next to Chris Evans. I get it. Look at you. You're real.
You've got a new suit as well. There are additions, there are changes to your suit.
Yeah, there's some, well, it's, you know, I think that's a common thing with a lot of the films. With each one, they alter them in some way. It's maybe a little more streamlined. The helmet's a little different. Yeah, it was different on Civil War than it was in Ant-Man.
Yeah.
And Chris, how much preparation to get into the role of Captain America? I mean, physically, I imagine just before you start filming, you have to visit the gym quite frequently.
Yeah, you got to make sure you're physically ready, not just because you want to, you know, look good from a very vain standpoint, but just to be ready physically for the demand of the shooting. You know, a lot of these fight sequences, you know, Cap doesn't fly, you know, he punches, he kicks. So a lot of those fight sequences, you try and do as much as you can in terms of the stunt work. So you got to be ready. You got to be limber, and you got to be, you know, physically prepared for that stuff. And it's, you know, it gets harder as you get older, but it's still fun. And we got a great team of people around me. And when I can't do the heavy lifting, the professionals come in and still make me look good.
So did you take any souvenirs, either of you?
I didn't take anything. It was my birthday while we were filming, and so they gave me one of those cowls, the little helmets that Cap wears. That.
Oh, would you be wearing
really
that at the weekend?
Horribly. You know, I've had some gatherings at my house where one of my buddies will pull it out and, you know, stumble his way through my. It's, you know, this is not for this interview right now. We'll leave that alone.
Oh, do tell us more.
What about you, Paul?
No, I didn't take anything.
You need to be more
Just
honest.
memories. And you know what? That's the most important gift that we can give ourselves.
Of course it is. Guys, listen, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. Next time you'll have to come in the studio. It'd be lovely to see you.
Yeah,
Captain America Civil War. There's the most extraordinary 16-minute fight sequence. We haven't got time to talk. Well, we have. I'm going to ask you right now. When you did that 60-minute fight sequence, was that the day that it was incredibly hot in Atlanta?
There wasn't just one day that it was incredibly hot.
Yeah,
that was like the 3 weeks that it was incredibly hot.
There were a few, but it was pretty toasty.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much
Thank
indeed.
you.
Thank you.
So that is released in cinemas on the 29th of April, and the premiere is tonight. So I imagine people are already heading down to Leicester Square or whatever it is.
Very
Get a glimpse of the superheroes.
Right, still to come, she was a pin-up for many a teenager.